In the early 1960s, the world stood on the brink of nuclear war. The Cold War was at its peak, and nowhere was the tension higher than between two nations just 90 miles apart. One the most powerful country in the world. The other a small island that dared to defy it. Cuba. And at the heart of this conflict stood one man, Fidel Castro. A revolutionary leader, a symbol of defiance, and a thorn in America's side. So what did the United States do? They didn't declare war. They didn't send troops. Instead, they launched something far more unusual. Over 600 attempts to kill one man. This is the story of how the CIA tried and failed to assassinate Fidel Castro using some of the strangest methods in history. Fidel Castro loved cigars. Not just any cigars, the finest Cuban tobacco, rolled with pride and smoked with passion. So when the CIA started planning ways to eliminate him, they saw an opportunity. What if his own love for cigars became his downfall? They developed a plan, poisoned the tobacco in one of his favorite cigars. Then, through a trusted informant, they passed them into Castro's inner circle. All that was left to do was wait. But as it turned out, even death couldn't catch up with Castro that easily. The cigars never reached him. And rumor has it someone else accidentally ended up smoking them instead. Let's just say he survived. But maybe with a bad stomach-ache and a valuable life lesson. When the cigars didn't work, the CIA got even more creative. This time, they turned to the ocean. They built a bomb and hid it inside a seashell. Yes, you heard that right, a seashell. Their plan: plant it in one of Castro's favorite diving spots. Imagine this: Fidel dives into the Caribbean waters, enjoying the coral reefs, reaches for a pretty shell on the seabed, and boom, surprise from Uncle Sam. Sounds like something out of a spy movie, doesn't it? But here's the twist: Castro never found the explosive gift. That lucky diver lived to swim another day. When bombs and poison didn't work, the CIA decided to try something a little more personal. They recruited a beautiful model from Miami. Her mission: infiltrate Castro's inner circle, gain his trust, and if the moment was right, eliminate him. Not with a bullet or a bomb, but with love. And poison. She arrived in Havana with a suitcase full of charm, confidence, and a deadly toxin hidden in her belongings. It was supposed to be a perfect trap. But here's the twist: Castro never even stayed at the hotel she targeted. All that effort, all that danger for nothing. Some say the real betrayal was how the CIA sent her on a mission they knew might fail. With guns, bombs, and even seashells failing, the CIA turned to something far more subtle. Something everyone needs every day: food. They recruited chefs, waiters, and kitchen staff who had access to state events where Castro would be present. Their mission: slip a deadly toxin into his meal. It sounded simple in theory, but Fidel Castro was no ordinary man. He was always suspicious of new people, and he often tasted the food himself or simply ate at home. So much for a perfect poison plot. That's what you get when your target is always one step ahead. When cigars, seashells, seduction, and poisoned food all failed, the CIA started running out of ideas. And that's when things got truly bizarre. They came up with some of the most ridiculous assassination plans ever recorded in history. One plan aimed to make Castro's beard fall out on live day. Another, hide explosives inside a radio he was scheduled to receive as a gift. There was even talk about using bubble soap filled with toxins. Yes, bubbles. Imagine this: Fidel Castro, surrounded by journalists blowing beautiful, colorful bubbles, and suddenly collapse. Of course, none of these plans ever made it past the drawing board. But just the fact that they were considered shows how far the CIA was ready to go. Fidel Castro ruled Cuba for nearly 5 decades. He survived revolution, Cold War tensions, and over 638 attempts on his life. Yes, you heard that right, 638. So why did none of them work? First, Castro was always surrounded by tight security. Paranoia wasn't a flaw for him, it was a survival skill. Second, many agents either got caught or simply defected to Cuba. Some even became his allies. Third, luck played its role. Some plans were just too ridiculous to succeed, and others were sabotaged by the CIA's own operatives. In the end, history remembers not just Castro's politics, but also his ability to outlive every single attempt to kill him. As he once joked, "If I had been paid one for every assassination attempt, I'd be the richest man in the world." So what do these stories tell us? That even the most powerful nations can make surprisingly human mistakes. That sometimes legends are born not because they won every battle, but because no one could destroy them. Fidel Castro wasn't just a leader. He was a survivor. And his story is a reminder that history is full of the unexpected. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and subscribe. Because trust me, there's a lot more where that came from. This has been how the USA tried to kill Castro, the weirdest assassination attempts. See you next time.